You're addicted and you don't even know it. Addicted to attention. Addicted to being seen. You wake up and scroll for proof that you exist. Likes, comments, followers, all just numbers replacing meaning. But here's the truth. Validation is the new cage. Every time you reach for it, you lose a piece of yourself. This audiobook is your escape plan. It's about cutting the cord between your worth and the world's applause. It's about choosing peace over performance, purpose over popularity. It's time to unfollow the world and finally start following yourself. Chapter 1. Stop performing for the audience that doesn't care. You've been performing. Maybe you don't realize it, but you have. Every scroll, every post, every look at me moment, it's all part of a show you never auditioned for, but one you've been performing in your whole life. You post to be seen. You share to be validated. You chase reactions from people who don't even think about you once they scroll past. That's the problem. You've built your identity on applause from an audience that doesn't care. Stop performing. Start becoming. This chapter isn't about deleting your social media. It's about reclaiming your purpose. Because right now, you're living for their attention instead of your intention. Every time you check the numbers, you reinforce a belief that your worth is measured by views, likes, or followers. But that's not truth, that's programming. You've been trained to chase approval instead of mastery. Let me be direct. You will never find fulfillment in their reactions. You will only find emptiness when the spotlight fades. You will only find confusion when the applause stops. You have a choice. You can keep performing for strangers, or you can start performing for your future. The illusion of relevance is poison. It makes you believe you're progressing when all you're doing is posting. It makes you think visibility equals value. But it doesn't. You can be seen by millions and still feel invisible. You can go viral and still feel empty. You can gain followers and lose yourself. That's the cost of performance. That's the silent tax you pay every time you choose attention over alignment. Stop performing. Start becoming. Let's break this down. There are two paths in life, performance or progress. Performance is about reaction. Progress is about direction. Performance asks, do they like me? Progress asks, did I improve? Performance seeks comfort. Progress demands discomfort. That's the key. You can't grow and please everyone at the same time. Every great creator, every leader, every disciplined mind, you know what they all did? They stopped performing. They disappeared. They went silent long enough to build something real. They understood this truth. The crowd only shows up once you've already done the work. The noise comes after the discipline. But most people get it backwards. They chase noise first. They want to be known before they've earned it. That's why they stay stuck. You might think you're working hard. But ask yourself, are you working or are you performing? When you post your goals online, is it for accountability or attention? When you share your progress, is it to inspire or to be admired? Be honest with yourself. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need their permission. You don't need to be seen to succeed. That's the mental shift. That's where freedom starts. Stop performing. Start becoming. Think about the performer's mindset. The performer lives for applause. They need instant feedback to feel alive. They chase the next hit of recognition. But the creator's mindset is different. The creator builds whether or not anyone claps. The creator stays focused when no one's watching. The creator plays the long game. You have to decide which one you want to be. Performance gives you a moment. Creation gives you a legacy. That's the difference. That's the choice. The truth is, most people don't care. And that's not an insult. It's liberation. They're not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. Once you accept that, you're free. Free to fail quietly. Free to grow privately. Free to experiment without judgment. You stop asking, what will they think? You start asking, what do I need to build? That's when your energy changes. That's when your life starts moving again. You don't need an audience to evolve. You need focus. You need solitude. You need repetition. Because mastery is built in private, not in public, not under the spotlight. Stop performing. Start becoming. Let's talk action. Step 1. Audit your attention. Every like you chase costs you energy. Every scroll pulls you away from purpose. Set limits. Take breaks. Reclaim your focus. Step 2. Work without announcing. Build in silence for 30 days. Don't post it. Don't share it. Just do the work. Watch how it feels to grow without approval. Step 3. Redefine success. Make the metric internal, not external. Success is finishing the task, not flaunting it. Success is keeping a promise to yourself, not proving one to others. That's the system. That's the reset. You might feel uncomfortable at first. That's normal. You're detoxing from validation. You've built a habit of external feedback loops. Now you're building internal strength. And that takes time. But remember, the quiet ones always rise. The focused ones always win. Because while everyone else is performing, you're preparing. While everyone else is chasing followers, you're chasing skill. While everyone else is showing off, you're leveling up. You don't need to announce your growth. Your results will do that for you. Stop performing. Start becoming. Let's ground this in reality. Think about the artist who disappears for a year and returns with a masterpiece. Think about the athlete who trains in silence while others post highlight clips. Think about the entrepreneur who works through the nights no one sees. They all follow the same rule: silence first, success later. The world rewards the work no one saw you do. That's the paradox. That's the power. The less you perform, the more you progress. The quieter you get, the stronger you become. The smaller your audience, the deeper your focus. You don't need to be noticed. You need to be consistent. Stop performing. Start becoming. You have a choice today. You can stay trapped in the cycle of digital applause, or you can step out and build something real. One path leads to noise. The other leads to mastery. One feeds the ego. The other feeds the soul. Choose the one that lasts. Choose the one that matters. Because you were not born to perform. You were born to create. You were born to grow. You were born to lead yourself, not please the crowd. Stop performing. Start becoming. You've learned to stop performing for strangers who don't care. Now it's time to dig deeper into what's been controlling you from the inside, the addiction to validation itself. Let's talk about the mental trap that keeps millions stuck. Chapter 2. The validation trap. Validation is a drug. It's dopamine-driven, empty, and engineered to keep you dependent. Every notification is a hit. Every like is a little high. Every comment is a quick rush that fades faster than it came. That's how they get you. That's how they keep you. The system is designed to feed your ego just enough to keep you scrolling, but never enough to make you whole. You think you're chasing connection, but you're chasing chemicals. You think you're chasing approval, but you're chasing addiction. This is the validation trap. Let's be honest. You've been conditioned. Every platform is built to train you to need feedback. You post something, you wait, and the moment the reaction hits, dopamine floods your brain. It's not your fault. It's psychology. You've been programmed to mistake attention for affection and likes for love. But here's the truth. Real fulfillment is quiet. Digital approval is loud and temporary. That's the key. What's loud fades fast. What's quiet lasts forever. You don't need their reaction. You need your discipline. You don't need their applause. You need your peace. Stop chasing the hit. Start chasing the habit. The validation trap is subtle because it feels good. It feels like connection. It feels like success. But it's not. It's control. It keeps you reactive instead of creative. It keeps you focused on how things look instead of how they are. You stop living, you start performing. You start asking the wrong questions. Not, am I growing? But do they like me? Not, is this right for me? But will they approve? That's how purpose dies, slowly, quietly behind the screen. Stop performing for validation. Start acting from conviction. Think about it. Why do so many people burn out online? Why do creators, influencers, even leaders collapse under the weight of their own image? Because they built their identity on applause. Because they confused being known with being fulfilled. The influencer with millions of followers but no peace. The artist who can't stop refreshing the numbers. The friend who deletes posts when they don't perform well. They're all in the same trap. When you make validation your oxygen, you suffocate without it. That's not living. That's dependency disguised as success. Here's the hard truth. The more you crave validation, the less you trust yourself. Every like says, "You're okay for now." Every silence says, "You're not enough." You start to believe your worth is up for a vote. But it's not. You have to take that power back. You have to break the loop. You have a choice. You can keep refreshing the screen, waiting for strangers to tell you who you are. Or you can decide that for yourself. That's the shift. That's freedom. Stop letting dopamine dictate your destiny. Start letting discipline define your direction. Let's look at how the trap works. Every app has one goal: to keep your attention. So they build feedback loops, red badges, hearts, comments, shares. They know the brain responds to unpredictability. So they give you inconsistent rewards. Sometimes you post and get a flood of attention. Sometimes you post and get silence. That unpredictability creates obsession. You start thinking about your next post, your next angle, your next hit of approval. That's addiction. That's the trap. But the only way out is awareness. Once you see the game, you stop playing it. You can't beat the system by feeding it. You beat it by starving it. That means discipline. That means restraint. That means saying, "I don't need to be seen today." Every time you choose silence over posting, you build power. Every time you create without sharing, you build confidence. Every time you go a day without checking the numbers, you reclaim control. That's how you detox from validation. Not by deleting everything, but by deciding who's in charge. Understand this: validation is a symptom of emptiness. The more you need it, the less you've defined yourself. If you don't know who you are, you'll let the crowd decide. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for every reaction. That's why self-discipline matters. Because discipline is identity. It reminds you who you are when the world tries to tell you otherwise. You don't need to announce every move. You don't need to prove your progress. You just need to stay consistent. That's the cure. Let's get practical. Here's how you break the validation cycle. Step 1. Delay your reaction. When you post something, don't check for an hour. Don't even open the app. Train your brain to stop expecting the hit. Step 2. Create privately. Work on something without sharing it. Let it exist for you. Let the process be enough. Step 3. Measure depth, not applause. Ask better questions. Did this make me better? Did I stay consistent? Did I honor my own word? Those are the new metrics. That's the system. That's how you shift from dependence to discipline. You might feel withdrawal. That's normal. You've been chasing external signals for years. Now you're learning to generate internal strength. That's power. That's maturity. Real peace doesn't come from attention. It comes from alignment. When you stop begging for approval, you start building self-respect. When you stop checking for reactions, you start trusting your actions. You stop performing for applause and start producing from purpose. That's the transformation. So remember, validation is a trap disguised as connection. It gives you the illusion of control while taking it away. It gives you the feeling of progress while keeping you stagnant. You don't need to escape the internet. You need to escape dependency. You don't need to delete your presence. You need to reclaim your purpose. You have a choice. You can feed your ego or you can feed your growth. You can keep refreshing for validation or you can refresh your focus. Stop performing. Start becoming. Because here's the truth. The people you're chasing approval from are trapped too. They're refreshing their screens, waiting for their own validation hits. It's an endless loop of insecurity feeding insecurity. The way out is leadership. You lead by detaching. You lead by modeling self-trust. You lead by showing that you can build in silence. You don't need to prove your worth, you just need to live it. Validation is temporary. Fulfillment is permanent. One fades, the other grows. Choose growth. Choose mastery. Choose meaning. You don't need their likes. You need your life back. Stop performing. Start becoming. You've seen how validation hooks your mind and hijacks your peace. Now it's time to confront the next enemy, the silent poison that drains your progress every day. It's the hidden habit that kills gratitude and focus. Chapter 3. The silent cost of constant comparison. You're not falling behind. You're just looking in the wrong direction. Every time you open your phone, you see someone doing more, earning more, achieving more. Or at least that's what it looks like. They post the highlight reel. You live the behind the scenes. And when you compare the two, you always lose. Comparison is corrosion. It eats away at your confidence, your focus, your gratitude. It turns your journey into a scoreboard that never stops moving. Stop measuring. Start building. Here's the truth. The algorithm doesn't feed you inspiration. It feeds you insecurity. It's designed to make you chase what you lack. You scroll because you want motivation, but you leave feeling worse. You wanted progress. You got pressure. That's not your fault. It's by design. The more inadequate you feel, the more you consume. The more you compare, the more you scroll. And the more you scroll, the less you live. That's the trap. That's the silent cost of comparison. You start comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You look at their success but not their struggle. You see their outcome but not their process. You measure your daily grind against their polished perfection. That's not fair to you. You're comparing your becoming to someone else's become. You're measuring a seed against a forest. You're judging your foundation by someone else's finish line. And every time you do, your gratitude erodes a little more. Comparison is corrosion. Stop measuring. Start building. Gratitude and comparison can't live in the same room. When one walks in, the other has to leave. Gratitude says, I'm growing. Comparison says, I'm not enough. Gratitude says, I've come far. Comparison says, I'm behind. You can't build from not enough. You can only build from appreciation. That's the key. When you stop comparing, you start noticing. You start noticing how much you've already built, how far you've already come, how capable you already are. That's where peace lives. Think about this. No one posts the truth. They post the highlight. They post the filtered win. They post the moment that makes them look in control. No one posts the stress, the mistakes, the doubt, the nights they almost gave up. You don't see the failures, just the final cut. So when you compare your raw footage to their edited version, of course you feel behind. Of course you feel small. You're comparing reality to illusion. An illusion always wins on screen, but never in life. The silent cost of comparison is that it steals your focus. You can't build your house if you're staring at someone else's blueprint. You can't master your craft if you're obsessing over someone else's timeline. Every minute you spend measuring someone else's progress is a minute stolen from your own. Every glance sideways slows your climb forward. You can't be great and jealous at the same time. You have to choose. Stop measuring. Start building. This is how comparison kills growth. It shifts your motivation from internal to external. You stop asking, what do I want to create? You start asking, how do I match them? You build things that look right but feel wrong. You chase trends instead of truth. You trade authenticity for imitation. That's not success. That's self-betrayal. The goal isn't to win their race. The goal is to run yours better every day. You might think comparison helps you aim higher. But real ambition doesn't come from envy, it comes from purpose. Comparison makes you reactive. Purpose makes you consistent. You don't need competition to grow. You need clarity. You don't need pressure to perform. You need patience to progress. That's the discipline of focus. That's what separates the distracted from the determined. Stop measuring. Start building. Let's make this real. Think about how much time you've spent scrolling, comparing, doubting. Now imagine what would happen if that same time went into your craft, your health, your relationships, your goals. Imagine the book you'd write, the business you'd build, the strength you'd gain, the peace you'd feel. The gap between where you are and where you want to be, that's not talent. That's focus. And comparison destroys it. Every time you compare, you give away your power. Every time you build, you take it back. Here's the fix. 3 simple disciplines to free yourself from comparison. Step 1. Limit exposure. Comparison thrives on excess. Control what you consume. Curate your feed. Follow less. Live more. Step 2. Track progress privately. Stop broadcasting your every move. Measure growth by consistency, not applause. Journal your wins. Reflect on your lessons. You'll realize you're moving faster than you think. Step 3. Practice gratitude daily. Write 3 things you're grateful for every night, no matter how small. Gratitude rewires the brain for sufficiency. It's impossible to compare when you're thankful. That's how you detox your mind. That's how you take back your focus. You don't need to be the best. You just need to be better than yesterday. That's the only metric that matters. That's the only scoreboard that leads to peace. Your timeline is yours. Your pace is personal. Your race is sacred. Stop looking left. Stop looking right. Look forward. Because when you're locked in on your path, there's no room for envy. When you're immersed in your mission, comparison feels meaningless. That's freedom. Comparison is corrosion. It eats at the foundation of gratitude. It drains your energy before the work even starts. The cost is invisible until it's too late. You lose your confidence. You lose your joy. You lose your voice. But you can take it back today. You can choose progress over pressure. You can choose focus over jealousy. You can choose to stop measuring and start building. Here's the truth. The people you compare yourself to are comparing themselves too. No one feels ahead. Everyone's fighting their own invisible battle. So stop chasing their pace. Start trusting your process. You're not late. You're not behind. You're right on time as long as you keep moving forward. Stop measuring. Start building. You don't win by watching. You win by working. You don't evolve by comparing. You evolve by committing. The next level of your life won't come from scrolling. It'll come from showing up. It'll come from daily effort, daily silence, daily focus. That's how you rise. That's how you lead. That's how you build a life that doesn't need to be compared, because it's yours. Stop measuring. Start building. You've learned how comparison corrodes confidence and kills gratitude. Now it's time to go deeper, into the power of silence itself. Because once you disconnect from noise, you reconnect with meaning. Chapter 4. Disconnect to reconnect. You think you need to stay connected to keep up. But what if connection is exactly what's keeping you stuck? You check the feed. You check the notifications. You check what everyone else is doing before you even check in with yourself. That's not awareness. That's addiction. You've been trained to believe that silence means you're missing out. But silence is where you catch up with yourself. Stepping back from digital noise isn't withdrawal. It's awakening. Every ping, every alert, every scroll, it fragments your focus. It steals your ability to think deeply, to feel fully, to create intentionally. You've become available to everyone and present to no one. That's the cost of constant connection. You can't hear your own voice because you're drowning in everyone else's. You can't see your direction because your attention is scattered across 1,000 distractions. The world keeps yelling more, but your soul is whispering enough. It's time to listen. Disconnection isn't about disappearing. It's about reappearing as yourself. When you disconnect, you're not rejecting the world. You're reclaiming your world. You're saying, my time matters. My peace matters. My focus matters. You're reminding yourself that your value doesn't come from visibility. It comes from clarity. And clarity is quiet. You can't find it while scrolling. You find it in stillness. In silence, you rediscover what you actually want, not what trends tell you to want. Here's the truth. The more connected you are to noise, the more disconnected you become from meaning. You start chasing goals that aren't yours. You start mimicking people you don't even know. You start building lives that look good online but feel empty offline. That's not success. That's simulation. Real life isn't happening on your screen. It's happening in the space you've been too distracted to notice. Stop watching life happen. Start living it. Let's be clear. You don't owe the world constant access to you. You don't have to respond instantly. You don't have to share everything. You don't have to exist as a notification. You have the right to log off. You have the right to protect your peace. You have the right to be unreachable while you rebuild. That's not avoidance. That's alignment. Stepping back doesn't mean you're quitting. It means you're charging. Disconnect to reconnect. You have to understand, your attention is your most valuable resource. Every app, every ad, every platform is fighting to own it. They don't want your money first, they want your focus. Because once they have your focus, they have everything. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. When you start protecting your attention, everything changes. Your anxiety drops. Your clarity rises. Your creativity returns. You start living on purpose instead of reacting on impulse. That's the shift. That's the awakening. You don't realize how loud the world is until you turn it off. The first few hours feel strange, uncomfortable even. But then something incredible happens. You start to think again. You start to breathe again. You start to remember what peace feels like. You start to hear yourself. And for the first time in a long time, you listen. You'll notice small details again, the quiet hum of life beyond the feed. The real world starts to come back into focus. That's not boredom. That's recovery. Disconnect to reconnect. Here's the challenge: a 7-day digital fast. 7 days without unnecessary scrolling, notifications, or noise. 7 days where your phone serves you, not the other way around. This isn't about punishment. It's about presence. Day 1. Silence all non-essential notifications. No alerts. No buzz. No distractions. Day 2. Set boundaries. Designate offline hours. Reclaim mornings and nights. Day 3. Replace consumption with creation. Write, read, build, move. Do something real with your hands. Day 4. Journal what surfaces. Notice the boredom. Notice the discomfort. That's your mind healing. Day 5. Have a full day with no screen at all. Go outside. Move your body. Talk to people face to face. Day 6. Reflect on what you've gained, the space, the calm, the clarity. Day 7. Decide what deserves your attention from now on. Don't plug back into everything. Plug back into purpose. That's your reset. That's your reconnection. You'll notice something powerful after this practice. You'll feel lighter, calmer, stronger. Your thoughts will slow down. Your focus will sharpen. Your energy will rise. That's not coincidence. That's clarity returning. You'll realize how much noise you were tolerating, how much stress came from constant exposure, how much creativity you'd buried under distraction, and you'll never want to go back. This is the truth few people admit. Constant connection makes you forget who you are. Every scroll pulls you a little further away from your center. You start reacting instead of deciding. You start mimicking instead of creating. But silence gives you back your originality. Silence gives you back your focus. Silence gives you back your self-respect. That's the real benefit of disconnecting. Not escape, evolution. Disconnect to reconnect. You don't have to vanish forever. You just have to be intentional. Choose when to connect. Choose what to consume. Choose who gets access to your time and your energy. When you choose, you're in control. When you react, you're being controlled. That's the difference between distraction and direction. You have a choice. You can keep chasing updates, or you can chase your mission. You can scroll through everyone else's life, or you can build your own. You can stay plugged into noise, or you can plug into meaning. The choice defines your future. Disconnect to reconnect. The digital world moves fast, but your purpose doesn't. Your peace doesn't. Your growth doesn't. When you slow down, you don't fall behind, you realign. You start operating from strength instead of stress, from focus instead of fatigue. That's when you become dangerous, in the best way. Because a focused mind is unstoppable. A quiet mind is powerful. A disconnected mind is free. Stop being a slave to noise. Start being a student of silence. Disconnect to reconnect. You're not meant to be online 24/7. You're meant to be alive. You're meant to build. You're meant to think deeply, create boldly, and rest completely. And none of that happens in a feed. It happens in focus. It happens in solitude. It happens when you stop reacting and start living. You can't build meaning while you're plugged into madness. You can't find truth while you're tuned into trends. You have to step back to see clearly. You have to disconnect to reconnect. You've reclaimed your focus by stepping away from noise. Now, it's time to use that space for something even more powerful, the forgotten fuel of creativity and mastery. Because when you learn to sit with stillness, something incredible happens. Chapter 5. The Power of Boredom. You hate being bored. You'll do anything to escape it. You'll scroll, swipe, click, refresh. just to avoid silence for a few seconds. But here's the truth you don't want to face. Your boredom is trying to save you. Every moment you feel restless, every second you reach for distraction, that's your mind begging for stillness. That's your creativity knocking on the door, waiting for space to breathe. Constant stimulation kills creativity. Boredom is where brilliance hides. We've been trained to fear the quiet. We've been conditioned to fill every empty moment with noise, podcasts, videos, notifications, content. We think silence means we're wasting time. But silence isn't wasted time. Silence is where you start hearing your own thoughts again. It's where ideas are born. When you're bored, your brain stops reacting and starts creating. It connects dots. It forms patterns. It solves problems you didn't even know you had. That's not laziness. That's genius. Every great thinker, every inventor, every artist, they all understood one thing. Solitude is a strategy, not a punishment. Einstein walked for hours in silence. Steve Jobs took long, disconnected retreats to think deeply. Nikola Tesla sat alone for days visualizing his inventions before building them. They weren't escaping work. They were doing the real work. They knew the truth. Distraction builds followers. Boredom builds thinkers. You can't think deeply if you never sit quietly. You can't innovate if you're constantly consuming. You can't discover new ideas while drowning in everyone else's. When you're constantly stimulated, your mind never rests. And a restless mind is a reactive mind. You start mistaking activity for progress. You start confusing motion with meaning. But when you embrace boredom, your brain recalibrates. It starts reaching inward instead of outward. It starts creating instead of consuming. That's the moment brilliance begins. Think about it. When was the last time you were truly alone with your thoughts? No music, no scrolling, no background noise, just you and your mind. Most people can't handle it for 5 minutes. They panic. They reach for their phone. They rush back into stimulation because silence feels uncomfortable. But that discomfort? That's the threshold of growth. Sit in it. Stay with it. Listen. That's where you'll find yourself again. Boredom is your brain's way of saying, I'm ready for something real. It's a signal, not a problem. It's an invitation to build, create, and think deeply. When you stop feeding your brain constant noise, it starts feeding you insight. When you stop reacting, you start reflecting. That's when ideas come. That's when clarity forms. That's when purpose takes shape. But most people never get there because they're too busy avoiding the silence that could save them. Let's get practical. Here's how you turn boredom into brilliance. Step 1. Create daily silence. Start with 10 minutes. No phone. No music. No stimulation. Just sit. Think. Observe. Your mind will fight it at first. That's normal. But eventually, thoughts will settle and ideas will rise. Step 2. Turn waiting into thinking. Stop filling every pause with your phone. Waiting in line? Think. Sitting on a train? Reflect. Walking outside? Observe. Those small pockets of stillness are where big ideas are born. Step 3. Schedule nothing time. Yes, actually schedule it. Put it on your calendar. Block out time with no agenda. That's not wasted time. It's where your next breakthrough will happen. Most people are terrified of empty space. But masters? They seek it. They know that clarity doesn't come from speed. It comes from stillness. They know that greatness requires depth, not just activity. When the world is running in circles, they sit still long enough to see the path. That's how leaders think. That's how creators build. That's how geniuses rise. Because they don't run from boredom, they partner with it. Boredom builds thinkers. Distraction builds followers. Here's something most people will never understand. The greatest breakthroughs of your life won't come from doing more. They'll come from doing less, with more intention. When you stop chasing stimulation, you unlock stillness. And stillness gives birth to insight. You'll begin to see patterns others can't. You'll begin to hear intuition others ignore. You'll begin to create work that actually matters. But you can't do that while you're busy refreshing the feed. You can't chase purpose while chasing dopamine. You can't access depth while skimming the surface. The mind that's constantly entertained never evolves. The mind that learns to sit still becomes unstoppable. So here's your challenge. This week, find 1 hour of pure silence. No screens. No notifications. No talking. Take a walk alone. Sit by yourself. Do nothing. You'll feel restless at first. Your mind will start screaming for stimulation. Stay in it. That's your brain detoxing from chaos. That's your attention healing. And then, something incredible will happen. Your thoughts will start to organize themselves. You'll see solutions to problems you've ignored. You'll remember things you forgot you cared about. You'll feel peace, not from escaping the world, but from finally hearing yourself again. That's the power of boredom. You have a choice. You can stay distracted, addicted to stimulation and starved of meaning. Or you can get quiet, bored, and brilliant. You can follow the noise. Or you can follow your own thoughts. You can keep reacting. Or you can start creating. The difference? Silence, stillness, space. That's where transformation lives. Remember, you're not avoiding life when you step away from noise. You're finally starting to live it. The world is addicted to distraction. But you can choose depth. You can choose clarity. You can choose brilliance. It's not about constant stimulation. It's about intentional isolation. It's not about running from boredom. It's about harnessing it. Because boredom isn't your enemy. It's your doorway. It's the space where your best self is waiting to emerge. Boredom builds thinkers. Distraction builds followers. Don't fear the silence. Use it. Don't rush to fill every gap. Let the gap fill you. When you master boredom, you master focus. When you master focus, you master creation. And when you master creation, you master life. So stop fearing stillness. Start seeking it. Your next idea, your next breakthrough, your next evolution, it's waiting in the quiet. Embrace the boredom. Own the stillness. Reclaim your brilliance. Boredom builds thinkers. Distraction builds followers. Chapter 6. Choose creation over consumption. You've been consuming. Every day, every hour, every minute, consuming. Scrolling. Watching. Liking. Refreshing. And you call it progress. You call it staying informed. You call it learning. But let me tell you the truth. Every minute you consume is a minute you're not creating. Every second spent absorbing someone else's life is a second stolen from building your own. That's not just time lost. That's potential wasted. That's what separates dreamers from doers. That's what separates followers from leaders. You have a choice. Consume or create. One builds dependency. The other builds destiny. The ratio of consumption to creation defines your life. The more you consume, the less you own. The more you create, the more you become. It's that simple. It's that brutal. Let me be clear. Scrolling, streaming, and observing are easy. Creating is hard. It requires discipline. It requires discomfort. It requires showing up even when no one's watching. And that's exactly why few people do it. Most are addicted to passive consumption because it's comfortable. Comfort kills progress. Comfort builds followers. Discomfort builds creators. Think about the creators who disappeared for a year. No posts. No updates. No likes. They didn't vanish because they quit. They vanished to build. They disappeared from noise to construct something timeless. When they returned, the work spoke louder than their absence. Their time offline became a legacy online. That's the power of prioritizing creation over consumption. You want that power. You want that freedom. You want that impact. Stop feeding the feed. Start feeding the future. Every scroll, every click, every endless swipe, it's a choice. And each choice matters. You don't have to consume everything. You don't have to be updated on every trend. You don't have to compare, envy, or replicate. You just have to create. Every day. A little. Consistently. That's what mastery looks like. Small actions done repeatedly. Consistency beats inspiration. Action beats reaction. Here's a simple principle. Creation is energy. Consumption is emptiness. When you consume too much, you feel full, but hollow. When you create, you feel accomplished and alive. Creation is your medicine. It heals the parts of you that distraction has drained. It builds confidence. It builds skill. It builds ownership over your life. Consumption takes. Creation gives. You decide which side you live on. Let's get tactical. Replace passive scrolling with active making. Journal. Write. Design. Build. Draw. Move. Speak. Whatever it is, create. Even a little. Even imperfectly. Because imperfect creation is still miles ahead of perfect consumption. Every post you don't scroll. Every hour you build instead of binge. Every idea you act on instead of watching someone else act on. That's your leverage. Leverage grows into momentum. Momentum grows into mastery. Mastery grows into freedom. The hardest part is starting. Most people don't start because they fear it won't be perfect. They wait for inspiration. They wait for motivation. They wait for the right moment. That moment will never come. You don't wait for motivation. You produce it through action. You don't wait for inspiration. You generate it by showing up. You don't wait for the perfect moment. You build the perfect moment by starting now. The clock is ticking. Every minute spent consuming is a minute your masterpiece isn't built. Here's the truth. Passive consumption creates passive people. Active creation creates active lives. It's not complicated. It's not mysterious. It's disciplined. You don't have to quit everything you enjoy, but you have to make space for creation. You have to prioritize output over input. Ask yourself, how much am I consuming versus creating today? If consumption is winning, your destiny is losing. Think about this. The person who scrolls 2 hours a day gets 2 hours of temporary distraction. The person who creates for 2 hours a day gets 2 hours of skill, growth, and progress. One disappears into the feed. The other builds a legacy. One follows trends. The other sets them. Which one do you want to be? Here's a practical exercise. Step 1. Track your time. Write down how many hours you consume versus how many hours you create. Step 2. Cut consumption in half. Half of what you spend scrolling, watching, or consuming. Stop. Step 3. Replace that time with creation. Write. Build. Design. Learn. Move. Produce. Do this consistently for 30 days. You'll notice a change, not just in your output, but in your energy, your clarity, and your confidence. The ratio of creation to consumption is the ratio of your life to your legacy. Most people live their entire lives in consumption mode. They watch. They listen. They follow. They envy. They imitate. Creators? They build. They fail. They iterate. They learn. They progress. And in the end, creation wins. Every time. Because while consumption only gives temporary satisfaction, creation builds permanent impact. It grows skill. It grows confidence. It grows identity. You don't follow trends, you make them. You don't chase applause, you earn it. You don't copy, you create. Remember, you have a choice. You can spend hours consuming, or you can spend hours producing. One fills your feed. The other fills your life. Distraction builds followers. Creation builds leaders. Stop scrolling. Start building. You've already seen it work for others. The creators who disappear for a year and return with something timeless. The artist who stops posting daily and spends a month in the studio. The entrepreneur who detaches from social media to launch a business offline. All of them understood one truth. Time spent creating compounds. Time spent consuming decays. The same hours you waste scrolling could have built the foundation of your next breakthrough. The choice is yours. Stop thinking about what you want to watch. Start thinking about what you want to make. Stop asking for feedback. Start producing results. Stop following others' lives. Start building your own. Every minute consumed is lost. Every minute created is gained. Choose creation over consumption. Your life depends on it. You've learned to turn consumption into creation. Now it's time to redefine success, without an audience, without applause, without approval. Because true achievement doesn't need validation to matter. You've learned how to use silence to unlock your mind. Now it's time to turn that clarity into momentum. Because stillness means nothing without action. Let's take what you've discovered and build something real. Chapter 7. Redefine success without an audience. You've been measuring your life by applause, by likes, by comments, by followers. And here's the hard truth. That's not success. That's dependency. True success isn't measured by visibility. It's measured by mastery. It's measured by discipline. It's measured by consistency. Not by who sees it. Not by who notices. Not by who tells you you're good enough. You don't need applause to rise. You don't need recognition to grow. You don't need validation to win. Think about the work you've done in private, the hours you stayed focused, the early mornings, the late nights, the repetitions no one saw. Those moments, that's where success lives. The world might never know, but you do. The real prize is internal. It's mastery. It's integrity. It's self-respect. Applause is external, fleeting, temporary, and often misleading. Every time you post for approval, you give away your power. Every time you work for praise, you sell your peace. Every time you define success by visibility, you tie your growth to someone else's judgment. That's a trap, and it's one that keeps millions stuck. The antidote? Work in private. Build in silence. Master without an audience. You don't need applause to rise. You need discipline to build. You need consistency to grow. You need courage to stay unseen while you evolve. Look at history's greatest minds. They weren't driven by likes or recognition. Einstein worked in solitude. Da Vinci sketched for decades without publishing. Tesla experimented tirelessly, often unnoticed, driven only by the obsession to perfect his craft. They didn't need applause. They didn't chase visibility. They chased mastery. And that's why their work lasted longer than anyone's applause ever could. You want lasting impact? Stop chasing attention. Start chasing excellence. It's tempting to show off progress, to prove you're working, to seek reassurance that you're on the right path. But that need for visibility sabotages growth. You start performing instead of producing. You start editing for approval instead of iterating for mastery. When you work in private, the results are yours alone. The growth is pure. The skills are real. The confidence is unshakable. You don't need applause to rise. Here's the practical truth. The work is its own validation. Every time you finish a task without showing it off, that's a win. Every time you push through discomfort without a reward, that's a win. Every time you master a skill in silence, that's a win. External recognition is optional. Internal recognition is mandatory. If you can't be proud of what you do in private, you'll never feel satisfied publicly. Mastery begins quietly, away from the crowd, away from the noise, away from the need for applause. You don't need anyone else to see your value, you already know it. The danger of an audience-driven mindset is this. You start doing what's visible, not valuable. You chase approval over impact. You become performative rather than productive. Ask yourself, is your work for your growth or for their gaze? If it's for them, you're trapped. If it's for you, you're free. You don't need applause to rise. You need focus to execute. You need consistency to progress. You need courage to do it quietly. Think about this. The most powerful results in life are rarely celebrated immediately. The entrepreneur building a business in their garage. The writer drafting chapters no one reads yet. The artist perfecting a piece for months before revealing it. They understand a secret most don't. Success is not a crowd. It's a skill. It's a discipline. It's a legacy. Applause is a bonus. Mastery is everything. Practical steps to master success without an audience. Step 1. Work privately. Set aside time daily to focus solely on building skill or producing work without sharing. Let the task exist for you, not for likes. Step 2. Track internal progress. Use journals, logs, or personal checklists to measure growth. Not followers. Not views. Not applause. Step 3. Celebrate in private. Acknowledge wins quietly. Reward yourself for discipline, consistency, and improvement. That recognition fuels sustainable growth. Step 4. Delay sharing. Post or reveal your work only when it's ready. Not for validation. Not for praise. For impact. Remember, the crowd doesn't determine your worth. The noise doesn't dictate your direction. The applause doesn't guarantee achievement. But your effort, your discipline, your quiet persistence, that does. You don't need applause to rise. You don't need an audience to grow. You don't need recognition to achieve. Mastery is its own reward. Excellence is its own validation. Progress is its own proof. Here's the test. Ask yourself right now, if no one saw your work, would you still do it? If the likes disappeared, would you still create? If no one acknowledged it, would you still pursue mastery? If the answer is yes, you've broken the dependency. You've redefined success. You've embraced the truth that lasts longer than applause. You don't need applause to rise. You don't need recognition to excel. You don't need permission to win. This is your call to action. Be proud in private. Build in silence. Master without an audience. The world may never see your effort. The world may never understand your discipline. The world may never notice your rise. And that's okay, because you don't work for them. You work for yourself. You don't grow for them. You grow for your future. You don't seek applause. You seek excellence. You don't need applause to rise. Stop chasing attention. Start chasing mastery. Stop performing for approval. Start building for impact. Stop measuring with visibility. Start measuring with skill. Your audience is optional. Your discipline is essential. Your work is eternal. You don't need applause to rise. You've learned to redefine success in private, free from the noise of others. Now it's time to confront the obstacle that still kills progress silently, procrastination disguised as busyness. Because you can master skills, work in silence, and still get nothing done. Chapter 8. Rebuild identity in silence. You've been defined by other people for too long. By their opinions. By their expectations. By their constant input. Every post, every message, every trend, it shapes your sense of self without you even realizing it. You chase approval. You mimic success. You adjust your identity to fit the noise. And in that chaos, the real you gets lost. Here's the truth. You cannot meet yourself in a crowd. You cannot discover your purpose while scrolling. You cannot rebuild your identity while performing for others. Without external input, without distractions, you meet the real you, the unfiltered, the uncurated, the raw version that hasn't been trained to please anyone else. This is the you that matters. The version that can create, act, and lead without apology. Solitude is not punishment. It's an excavation. It's a journey inward. It's where you strip away the masks, the borrowed opinions, the habits you picked up from constant external influence. And what do you find? Conviction, not consensus. Most people spend their lives chasing agreement. They adjust, appease, perform. But conviction comes when no one is watching. It comes in silence. It comes in stillness. It comes when you look in the mirror and ask, who am I without everyone else's input? Think about this. Every decision you've ever made has been influenced by someone else, subtly or overtly. Every opinion you've formed has been filtered through someone else's lens. Every habit has been borrowed from culture, peers, media, or algorithms. That's not bad. It's just incomplete. To rebuild, you must disconnect. You must step back. You must reclaim your authority over your own mind. Here's how it works. Start small. 1 hour a day offline. No phone. No notifications. No noise. Sit with yourself. At first, it will feel strange. You'll notice discomfort, restlessness, doubt. That's your old identity trying to cling to validation. Sit anyway. Observe. Journal what surfaces. What did you enjoy before approval mattered? What do you want regardless of recognition? What beliefs are yours, not borrowed? That's the excavation. That's the reconstruction. That's the birth of conviction. Conviction is powerful because it is unwavering. It does not bend to likes. It does not pivot for applause. It does not compromise for consensus. Conviction acts. Conviction creates. Conviction stands firm when everything else is chaos. And it is developed only in silence. When you journal your thoughts offline, something incredible happens. You see patterns you never noticed. You recognize recurring desires and fears. You identify values that actually matter. This isn't reflection, it's revelation. You start understanding yourself at a level no social feed can provide. You start distinguishing between who you are and who others want you to be. Most people fear solitude. They think if they're alone, they'll face emptiness. But the real emptiness is not being alone. The real emptiness is being surrounded by noise while losing yourself. Alone you find power. Alone you discover clarity. Alone you reclaim authority over your own life. That's why leaders, creators, and high performers spend time in silence. It's how they separate influence from identity. It's how they act with purpose instead of reaction. Here's the exercise in practice. Step 1. Schedule 1 hour daily offline. No screens, no interruptions. Pure solitude. Step 2. Journal every thought that surfaces. Write without judgment. Write without censorship. Notice recurring themes, desires, fears, and inspirations. Step 3. Reflect on authenticity. Ask, am I acting from influence or intention? Are my actions mine or borrowed? Step 4. Apply insight to action. Make small decisions guided by conviction, not consensus. This is where identity rebuilds. The world will try to pull you back into noise. People will demand reactions. Trends will push for attention. Algorithms will hijack focus. And that's exactly why you must protect your silence. Because identity cannot grow in reaction. It cannot solidify in distraction. It cannot thrive in the theater of constant approval. It grows in stillness. It solidifies in solitude. It strengthens in reflection. Rebuilding identity in silence is not fast. It is deliberate. It is intentional. It is persistent. Every day you disconnect, you reclaim a piece of yourself. Every hour you journal, you assert authority over your thoughts. Every insight you act on, you reinforce the real you. This is the work. This is the evolution. This is the foundation of unstoppable growth. Remember, identity is not what the world tells you. It is not what likes, comments, or followers define. It is not borrowed from trends or influence. Identity is discovered. Identity is rebuilt. Identity is lived. In silence, you hear the truth of who you are. In solitude, you build the courage to act on it. In reflection, you align your life with it. The people who succeed quietly, without showmanship, without validation, are not lucky. They are disciplined. They are intentional. They have rebuilt themselves in silence. And that's why their actions are unstoppable. Their growth is inevitable. Their identity is unshakable. You can do the same. Step back. Journal. Reflect. No one is watching. No one is validating. No one is applauding. And that's the point. This is where your power grows. This is where your convictions form. This is where your real self rises. You have a choice. Remain scattered, shaped by every opinion, trend, and notification. Or reclaim yourself, silently, intentionally, daily. You will stumble. You will resist. You will feel restless. Sit with it. Journal it. Build from it. Without external input, you meet the real you. With that knowledge, you act from conviction, not consensus. You don't need the world to understand. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need applause. All you need is silence. You've begun to rebuild your identity in silence. Now it's time to channel that inner clarity into unshakable resilience. Because identity alone isn't enough. Life will test it. Chapter 9. The Return of Purpose. You've been lost in noise. Lost in scrolling, comparing, performing, reacting. Lost in the chaos of other people's expectations. But now something has shifted. You've disconnected. You've gone inward. You've rebuilt your identity in silence. And now purpose returns. Purpose doesn't live in distraction. It doesn't thrive in constant approval. It doesn't survive in the frenzy of external validation. Purpose lives in focus. Purpose grows in stillness. Purpose emerges when you've stripped away the noise. Once detached, you reconnect with meaning, your work, your growth, your peace. You start to understand what matters to you. Not to the feed. Not to the crowd. Not to anyone else. Here's the key. When you stop chasing validation, purpose starts chasing you. Think about it. When your every action is driven by likes, praise, or recognition, you never find satisfaction. You never feel fulfilled. You never feel aligned. Validation is temporary. Purpose is eternal. The moment you stop seeking approval, the moment you stop performing for others, your energy shifts. You start noticing opportunities that were invisible before. You start understanding your strengths. You start moving in directions that feel right, not popular. And that's when purpose begins to chase you. The world will try to pull you back into noise. Algorithms, social pressure, trends, all of it conspires to make you forget what matters. But your purpose doesn't care about distractions. It doesn't ask for applause. It doesn't compete for attention. It waits, patient, silent, ready to reward clarity and commitment. Think about the times you've been most productive, most alive, most creative. Were you distracted, constantly checking your phone? Or were you focused, immersed, and undisturbed? Every time you've lost yourself in focused work, in meaningful creation, in deliberate action, that's purpose calling. And every time you've been distracted, scattered, or performing for approval, that's purpose ignored. You have a choice. You can ignore it again, or you can follow it now. Purpose is not a goal. It's not a destination. It's not something you chase in order to feel alive. Purpose is the byproduct of alignment. When your actions match your values. When your work reflects your strengths. When your energy flows without distraction or compromise. Detach from noise. Rebuild your identity. Focus on what matters. Purpose will follow. Here's a practical way to reclaim it. Step 1. Audit your life. Write down everything you're doing daily. Ask, does this align with my values? Does this contribute to my growth? Does this bring me peace? Step 2. Eliminate noise. Cut tasks, habits, and commitments that don't serve purpose. Reduce distractions, social media, and external validation. Step 3. Dedicate blocks of focused time. Work, create, reflect without interruption. Purpose thrives in uninterrupted focus. Step 4. Reconnect with meaningful goals. Not goals for likes. Not goals for recognition. Goals for mastery, growth, and fulfillment. Every distraction removed, every minute of focus reclaimed, strengthens your connection to purpose. It's a muscle. It grows with attention and intention. Purpose is not found in external applause. Purpose is found in internal alignment. When your life reflects your priorities, your actions reflect your values, and your energy flows toward meaning, that's when purpose returns. You've already done the hardest part. You disconnected. You rebuilt identity. You stopped chasing validation. Now the world feels quieter. Your mind feels sharper. Your energy feels clearer. And that's exactly when purpose begins to reveal itself. The challenge is simple. Every day act in alignment with your values. Every day focus on what matters most. Every day measure success by impact, not attention. The moment you stop performing, stop seeking approval, stop reacting to noise, purpose starts chasing you. It's not sudden. It's not dramatic. It's steady. It's subtle. And it's unstoppable once you commit. Here's the repetition you must remember. When you stop chasing validation, purpose starts chasing you. Say it. Believe it. Act on it. Your work will become more meaningful. Your growth will accelerate. Your peace will deepen. Because purpose is not a reward for visibility. It's the result of clarity, discipline, and intentional action. Look at people who live intentionally. The creators, entrepreneurs, and leaders who operate quietly without constant validation. They don't need applause to rise. They don't wait for recognition to act. Purpose drives them. Focus sustains them. Growth defines them. That's the life you're building. The final truth. You cannot find purpose in the crowd. You cannot secure purpose from likes. You cannot measure purpose with applause. You find it in solitude. You cultivate it in focus. You live it in action. Detach from noise. Rebuild your identity. Stop chasing validation. Purpose will chase you. And once it does, your life changes. Stop waiting for approval. Stop performing for others. Stop measuring by visibility. Instead, act with integrity. Focus with clarity. Grow with discipline. Live with purpose. The noise may call you back. The world may demand attention. The algorithms may try to distract. Ignore them. They cannot define your life. Because you have something stronger. Purpose. Discipline. Clarity. And now it's chasing you. You've returned to purpose, clear, aligned, and focused. The final step is to cement this transformation into a daily practice, to ensure growth, discipline, and focus become unstoppable habits. Chapter 10. Live unfollowed. You've disconnected. You've rebuilt your identity. You've reclaimed purpose. Now it's time to take the final step. To live unfollowed is to live free. Free from approval. Free from validation. Free from permission. Most people never reach this stage. They stay trapped in performance, approval, and external noise. But you've chosen another path. When you live unfollowed, you no longer measure your worth by the world's eyes. You no longer wait for applause. You no longer perform for recognition. You act. You create. You grow. Quietly. Intentionally. Relentlessly. That's freedom. True freedom. Most people think freedom comes from opportunity or visibility. They believe success is defined by applause. They chase recognition like it's a life raft. But freedom is not external. It's internal. It's the ability to act without fear, to create without asking permission, to live without seeking approval. You don't need the world to see you. You don't need anyone to validate your path. You are enough. Living unfollowed means moving with quiet confidence. You make decisions because they align with your values. You take action because it matters, not because it will impress. You don't explain yourself. You don't justify your journey. You don't seek permission. You simply move forward. And when you do, something extraordinary happens. The world no longer controls your energy. Your attention is yours. Your focus is yours. Your life is yours. Think about it. All the time you spent seeking validation, wasted. All the energy you spent performing, drained. All the fear of judgment, unnecessary. Now it ends. Living unfollowed is not rebellion. It's mastery. It's clarity. It's alignment. It's the ultimate form of discipline. Here's how you live unfollowed. Step 1. Disconnect from unnecessary noise. Social media, distractions, comparisons. Remove what doesn't serve your growth. Step 2. Rebuild focus on creation and growth. Your attention is your most valuable asset. Protect it. Invest it in meaningful work. Step 3. Reaffirm internal validation. Celebrate your wins privately. Measure yourself by progress, not applause. Step 4. Move with quiet confidence. Act, create, grow, consistently, deliberately, unapologetically. This is where your transformation solidifies. You've disconnected. You've built identity. You've returned to purpose. Now you live free. You don't chase trends. You don't react to noise. You don't need followers, likes, or approval. You follow your work. You follow your growth. You follow the truth. Live it relentlessly. Let it guide every action, every decision, every choice. When you do, the life you build will be unstoppable. It will be purposeful. It will be disciplined. It will be yours. Let me make it clear. Living unfollowed is not loneliness. It's not isolation. It's not detachment from reality. It's mastery over your attention, your energy, your identity. It's the ultimate form of self-respect. It's living aligned with your values, unshakable by the opinions of others. When you live unfollowed, the world no longer dictates your pace. The noise no longer determines your direction. The approval no longer defines your worth. You are free. You are focused. You are unstoppable. Remember everything you've learned. Disconnect from distractions. Embrace silence. Prioritize creation. Work in private. Rebuild your identity. Reconnect with purpose. Move with discipline. This is the roadmap. Follow it daily. Follow it relentlessly. And the ultimate reward, freedom, authenticity, unshakable confidence. You've built a life where you are not enslaved to validation. You've developed the courage to act quietly, consistently, and intentionally. You've reclaimed your focus, your purpose, and your identity. And now you live unfollowed. If you found value in this journey, hit the subscribe button now. Turn on notifications so you never miss a video that helps you reclaim your focus, master your mind, and live a life of purpose. Your growth doesn't wait. Your transformation doesn't wait. And your life doesn't wait. Subscribe. Commit. Execute. Unfollow the world. Follow the work. Follow the truth. Your life is waiting. Your purpose is waiting. Your freedom is waiting. And it starts the moment you stop seeking approval and start building your legacy.